Off-road maniacs, it's the AWAS, and thank you for checking out my channel. This video is a 2+ year review of my experience riding the 2022 KLX 300 and if I feel I made the right choice versus the Honda CRF 300L, which I was considering at the time I bought this bike. I've logged thousands of miles on my KLX 300, mostly off-road from forest roads to single track, from dual sport events to moto camping in the mountains. I've pushed its capabilities and pushed mine on this bike for over 2 years. I've dropped it, crashed it, almost drowned it, and more. I rode my first true single track trails on this bike, and it's helped me become a better all-around off-road rider. You can say this bike and I have been through a lot together over the past 2 years. A few questions I'll answer in this video are, did the reasons I chose the Kawasaki KLX 300 live up to its expectations? Do I have any regrets buying this bike? My likes and dislikes about the KLX 300? And ultimately, do I feel I made the right choice buying the Kawasaki KLX 300 versus the Honda CRF 300L? But first, let's review why I chose the KLX 300 versus a Honda CRF 300L. I also made a video about it with more details that you could view by clicking here. In the summer of 2021, I was looking for a low-cost, low-maintenance dual sport bike to complement my mid-sized Adventure 2020 KTM 790 Adventure R. I had a budget and narrowed down my search to 2 bikes, both of which were new for 2021, the Kawasaki KLX 300 and the Honda CRF 300L. Since these bikes were new, they were hard to come by at the time, so I called local dealers and put my name down on waiting lists for both models. Within a few days of putting my name down on a waiting list, I had a chance to buy the rally version of the Honda CRF 300L, but I already had an adventure bike and wanted a true dual sport, so I passed on it. So here are the reasons why I initially chose the KLX 300. Cost of purchase and maintenance. The low cost of the bike and low cost of maintenance met my expectations. Out the door cost for me was approximately $7,000, not including the farkles I added to the bike since. The bike is approximately half the price of a KTM or Husky equivalent. The question I've been struggling with is if it's worth spending double for a higher performing and higher quality motorcycle. The first service at 600 miles was relatively inexpensive compared to my KTM 790. The next service is due at 7,600 miles. Aftermarket parts are also generally lower cost as compared to my KTM, for example, including oil change kits, skid plates, and luggage racks. Items I've added to the bike include Tusk handguards, double take mirrors, Emperor Racing skid plate and radiator guards, IMS foot pegs, Pro taper bars, Tusk handlebar riser, upgraded brake and clutch levers, Denali 2.0 light pods, and an LED bulb for the headlamp. In summary, it's a low-cost and low-maintenance bike that you'll find similar with the Honda CRF 300L. Next on the list was weight. I was looking for a fairly low-weight dual sport, but again, at a good cost, so there was a compromise. So this assessment is an interesting one and also new learning for me. Compared to my 470-pound KTM 790 Adventure R, the KLX 300 is light and nimble. However, after riding a few similar engine size, higher-end KTM and Husqvarna dual sport and dirt bikes that weigh around 250 pounds, I can feel the higher weight of the KLX, and more importantly, the differences in weight distribution and balance. I mean, bottom line, it's not a light dual sport, and you'll feel the 310 plus pounds when riding single track and steep climbs, if that's what you choose to do with this bike. On easier trails, it's comfortable and the weight becomes less of an issue. I also notice a substantial difference in the weight distribution of the bike compared to much higher priced dual sports. I've since added at least 15 to 20 pounds with the skid plate, radiator guards, luggage racks, and handguards, so my KLX is now likely heavier than a stock Suzuki DRZ 400. So those are other considerations to keep in mind if you're in the market for a dual sport motorcycle.
Drop down.
Okay.
And I've dropped down to the bottom, but that's where we turned around and came back because it was getting late in the day. We have no idea where this ends up.
Well, let's go till we're tired.
Well,
It gets a little tight up here.
We'll go a little bit further, but going through your tires is probably not a good thing, because if we have to come back out, it could be a bitch coming up that hill.
Okay.
Okay? Let's just go check it out.
Guys. Next on the list is engine performance. The engine performance is what I expected. The only mods I made was replacing the air intake snorkel with a larger one and replacing the muffler with a Delcovic exhaust. The engine is a little tractor and has pulled and pushed me through climbs, mud, water crossings, and more. With proper clutch control, stalling was not an issue. On the downside, I have to shift gears a lot on this bike, and it does not pull well in third gear, so I find myself in first and second gear more often than I would like to. It also struggles to jump through puddles or over obstacles where a blip of the throttle does not respond as well. Yes, you can make mods with a power commander, but the power and torque are still modest at best. Next on the list is reliability. I don't need to say much about reliability because of Kawasaki's reputation. Honda is also arguably one of the most reliable brands as well, so no issues comparing both here. Next on the list is suspension. Adjustable suspension was the main reason why I chose the KLX 300 over the Honda. I've adjusted the rear suspension and spring preload a handful of times to adjust for sag, luggage, and terrain. The KLX 300 allows for front fork compression dampening adjustment with spring preload and rebound dampening force in the rear shock. In my opinion, it has made a big difference when riding the KLX in more challenging terrain or when loaded with luggage. The stock setup was way too soft, and I bottomed it out several times. After several adjustments, the ride dynamics improved and I no longer bottomed out, which has given me more confidence riding at higher speeds off-road. I believe this continues to be a big difference versus the Honda CRF 300, confirmed after riding the KLX for over 2 years and thousands of miles off-road. Most reviews also agree that the suspension on the KLX 300 is better versus the Honda, where I hope Honda makes a future adjustable suspension version. Next on the list is looks. Well, bottom line, if you like green or camo, then the KLX is for you. I like the camo version. It looks mean and cool from my opinion, and I still like the looks of this bike. Next on the list is safety. I still think an ABS option that Honda offers makes a difference. I spend considerable time on the asphalt to get to the dirt roads, and from my experience, ABS can make a difference in emergency situations. ABS on motorcycles is controversial, especially from experienced long-term riders like myself who rode bikes during a pre-ABS era, but ABS has saved my tail on several occasions on my KTM 790 Adventure R, and data supports my experience. According to the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, anti-lock brakes, ABS, on motorcycles can reduce the rate of fatal crashes by 31%. Next on the list is extras, and this is one that I would definitely hand over to the Honda CRF 300L having the advantage over the KLX. So one dislike I have about my KLX is the lack of a fuel gauge like the one the Honda CRF 300L offers. I didn't think this would be a big deal, but when that little low fuel light goes on and you're in the middle of the woods, I start to get nervous, even though I know roughly how many miles I have left. I would definitely prefer to have a proper fuel gauge, and I hope that Kawasaki makes this improvement on the KLX 300 in the future. So that does it for my list, and as I reflect back on the over 2 years and thousands of miles I have on my KLX 300, do I have any regrets? No, I do not have any regrets, and I feel I made the right choice according to what I was looking for in my first dual sport motorcycle. The KLX 300 has taken me places that I could not have imagined. It's also a great dual sport for beginner, intermediate, or even advanced riders, although advanced riders will quickly find its limitations. I've improved my single track and more challenging off-road terrain riding on this bike, and don't overstress when I drop it. So that does it for my list. So ultimately, what do I like and dislike about my KLX 300? First of all, the likes. Adjustable suspension, tractor-like motor, easy maintenance, low cost of ownership, and reliability. My dislikes: limited power when you need it, heavy for a 300cc dual sport, and lack of a proper fuel gauge. So do I feel I made the right decision buying the Kawasaki KLX 300 versus a Honda CRF 300L? Yes, no question, and ultimately due to the adjustable suspension. If Honda offered adjustable suspension, I would have likely purchased it instead due to the other factors discussed in this video. I know Honda has a slipper clutch, but that doesn't matter for me, and I have experience comparing slipper clutches versus normal ones. So here's my dilemma. I've had a chance to ride higher performance, equal and bigger bore, full stroke, dual sport, and dirt bikes. For example, after riding a Husky 450 dirt bike on single and double track in Arizona, I noticed the big difference that lighter weight, better balanced, better suspension, more power, and more torque bikes offers. A substantial difference that will cost double that of my KLX 300 to achieve. I love my KLX 300, and it would be difficult to part with my Kawasaki, but is it time to do so? I don't know, but I'm starting to look at KTM and Husky options. Until then, I will keep pushing my limits on my KLX 300, enjoying the ride along the way. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.
I'm good. I got it, man. Hey, you could push it up from here.
What's that?
Let's just get it up and then stay on the left side and you can push it up.
Okay. I'm not used to it. Yeah.
Okay, I'll get you. Go ahead and get on the other side.
1, 2, 3. Okay. Oh, holy crap, that was awesome. I hope that was the hardest part, but I don't know. Man, I need to get in shape again. Whew. Yeah, baby! You want me to just keep going?
This is, if you ever do the dual sports with us, this is kind of dual sport.
Okay.
I mean, not as hairy.
Yeah.
Because it's more, blown out.
Okay.
But man, it's fun riding.
Yeah, I love it. All right, I'll go ahead then.
Okay. I just want to make sure they all make it.
Yeah.
You're good.